The last several years have been anything but cordial when it came to Turkey's relations with much of the Arab world, especially with its two biggest countries, Egypt and Saudi Arabia. But now things are slowly changing. Past differences are being quietly resolved, and an outreach initiated by both sides is being fully utilized. That was on full display when Turkey's Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu visited Riyadh in mid-May, his first visit to the kingdom in years. Everything was on the table, including salvaging once a lucrative trade relationship to Israel's recent bombing of Gaza. Turkey's once tense relationship with Egypt is also easing. A Turkish delegation recently visited Cairo, where both sides voiced support for Libya's new interim government. For years, Turkey and Egypt had been supporting opposing sides in Libya's civil war. So what is driving this recent rapprochement? What could the region gain from an easing of tensions? And have President Biden's shifts in U.S. foreign policy had any impact on those decisions? And to answer that, joining me from Istanbul is Mustafa Aydin. He is the rector of Istanbul Kadir Has University. Mustafa, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. Starting with the latest, what's your take on high-level contacts between Turkey and Saudi Arabia, and what is behind this new diplomatic push and where it is headed?
Well, it's part of Turkey's new push all over. Turkey has been trying to rejuvenate its relations with its neighbors as well as further away, starting from the United States. But it also includes in the regional countries, Greece, Egypt, Israel, and Saudi Arabia, obviously. This has come from understanding that the broken relationship in the last couple of years started to hurt Turkey's interests also regionally and in a wider context. So I believe Turkey is trying to find ways to create a new environment of friendship, or at least, if not friendship, containment of the problems.
So could Turkey and Saudi Arabia relations be restored to what were they like before the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and considering that the Saudi crown prince is not as prominent as he was before?
I think there is a possibility there, and especially I believe we'll be talking about this, especially because of the changes in global politics. The Saudi position reticence came after their agreements with Israel and the United States, and with the encouragement of former U.S. President Donald Trump for their enhanced role in the Middle East. Now, the current American administration does not seem to be encouraging Saudi position, so much active Saudi position in the region, and they have been winding down, actually, starting from Yemen and in other countries as well. So looking from this perspective, from a wider international perspective, I think Saudis are also coming to a position where they could see a better relations with Turkey is good for their own interests as well.
So efforts to move on after a series of political fallouts. Turkish and Egyptian foreign ministry officials also engaged in talks. Could efforts both with Saudi Arabia and Egypt to normalize relations be evaluated separately, or are they dependent on one another?
They are not codependent, but they are related. That's for sure. I mean, moving along with the relations with Egypt also would help Turkey moving along with Saudi Arabia. One of the problems, or if you look at the background or deep background of these problems emerging, was the coup d'etat in Egypt and Turkish reaction to coup d'etat and the government afterwards, whereas Saudi Arabia supported or instigated the coup. And that's where everything is started. And also the relationship that Turkey has with the Muslim Brotherhood regionally, and how Saudis and Egyptians are seeing them as arch enemies.
Yes.
That was the origin of the problem. So if we can fix our relations with Egypt, that will help improving the relations with Saudi Arabia and vice versa. Saudis has quite a attack on Egypt with their support.
So, how has the US president's foreign policy shifts impacted the regional countries in recalibrating their policies? And why do you think they're aligning themselves accordingly and swiftly?
I I think it has quite an impact. It has already has quite an impact, and even before Biden took office, the countries in the region started to change their positions. Why they are doing so? Because that they are, when you look at the in regional politics, the countries like Saudi Arabia or Egypt could become influential countries as long as they team up with United States with an outside support. Otherwise, regionally, they cannot even contain the influences of Iran and Israel. The
Yes.
United States kind of balances out for these two countries.
Yeah, so we have seen Turkey and Egypt back rival factions in Libya and stand on the opposite sides in the Syrian, Iraqi, and East Mediterranean conflict and disputes. What are the challenges before a comprehensive rapprochement between the two countries, and which sticking points need to be overcome by both countries?
I think the most important is the trust building. There is no very obvious sticking point anymore. There was the existence of some people, Egyptian exiles living in Turkey and operating for some the media outlets from Turkey. But in recent months, I believe Turkey has curbed that kind of influence or movement. And I don't think there is a really deep down problem apart from the trust. We need to build trust between the Egyptian government, the current government, and current Turkish administration. Once we are able to do that, then we can start moving on dealing the problems that you already mentioned from Libya to Saudi Arabia one by one. But we should not forget that lots of things has happened in last couple of years, and Egypt has connections and improved relations with Israel and with Greece and with also Cyprus. These are going to be problematic for Turkey because just because Turkey is normalizing its relations with Egypt, Egypt would not choose to end its heightened or expanded relations with these countries.
I was going to ask you that. I mean, could a normalization with Turkey come at the cost of Egypt's relationship with Greece and also the Greek Cypriot administration? And do you think that some sort of a reconciliation between Turkey and Egypt could help build Libya's future, as well as maybe a possible new maritime demarcation zone between the two countries?
Well, this would be a very slow process. I think parallel to trust building between Egypt and Turkey, Turkey might develop a better position, an enhanced position in the East Med. I believe, as far as I know, this is based on my talks with diplomats from different countries in the region. I believe it's the Egypt who is actually blocking Turkey's cooperation with the East Med countries. So with the improving of relations, Turkey could ease back its position in the Eastern Mediterranean. But this would not be to the detriment, immediately to the detriment of Egypt, Greece, or Egypt-Cyprus relations. It will take longer period.
Yeah.
In Libya case, I think the relationship has already moved on, and there is certain level of understanding already in place. Both countries are, wary of each other. They don't want to fight, definitely. Not, hot conflict even.
But Mustafa,
Yeah,
Egypt
yeah,
calls on
sure.
all foreign fighters to leave Libya as soon as possible, as Turkey draws a clear distinction between foreign mercenaries and Turkish soldiers who were deployed upon an agreement reached with the legitimate Libyan government. So, what's the end game here? Who is likely to take the first step? And do you believe that Turkey would or could abandon Libya?
I don't. Well, let me start from the last. Turkey would not abandon Libya at the moment, and definitely this is a kind of it become a long game now. The situation in Libya stabilized or stagnated. the solution is now going to come not from the ground or not from the theater of operations, but from the diplomatic negotiations and deals, which will take a couple of years. And I believe personally that Turkey would be there for those, at least for those couple of years. And then we'll see what will the new solution or accepted solution to Libya will offer.
Yeah.
The countries like Egypt, the commenting on Turkey's position and presence there does not really carry that much weight because they themselves also have forces and they themselves also support mercenaries in that
Yes.
region. This is all diplomacy and politics, so I wouldn't put much
Yes.
emphasis on it.
So given all these swift changes and pushes on diplomacy, are we likely to witness some significant power relations in the region to change moving forward?
I think that would entirely depend on how the talk between President Erdogan and President Biden going to take place in June 14. Because if Turkey can move with its relations with the United States ahead, then this would definitely affect its relationship with Egypt and Saudi Arabia, and then with other countries also. So I think very much depends on how Turkey could deal with the United States and its relations with the US.
All right, Mustafa, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.